Two friends, two minds, and one love for Arsenal Football Club. You are now listening to the Cod and Two Minds podcast.
Hey, greetings everyone. This is the podcast Caught in Two Minds. You can find us on Twitter at CITM Podcast. I am Fitty at Guna Rush, and co-hosting with me is E at E Marshall, EMARSHO. My partner. How you doing, E?
Hey-o. Doing good, chilling.
Okay.
A lot of festivities this last weekend.
Yeah, man. By the way, folks, episode 69. This is episode 69.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
You know, and all you freaks out there, stop with the innuendo. Stop it. Anyway, hey, great weekend, right? I mean, even though our beloved Arsenal didn't come up, you know, life's not always footy ball.
Yeah, no, you can't stay on Twitter cussing out Wenger and plotting the whole demise of Arsenal all weekend, even after a shitty defeat to your rival. So you got to get out, experience some shit, and it was,
All right, folks. So you got your inspiration for the day, and we're going to leave you there. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, man. But no, real fun weekend after a long week at work. Friday night, we had our good buddy come in from out of town, which is a reason for all the buddies to get together.
It was nice. It was nice.
We went to an old spot, the Kingfish in Oakland on Telegraph. That's a little shout out. Mm-hmm. It's been a watering hole, favorite place of ours for a long time. And, we had a good group of guys get together. And then the following day, that same buddy that he came down, he was down because, he is, into the horses. Matter of fact, you could follow him on Twitter at LittleDo11, at LittleDo11, at LittleDo11.
Yes.
That's our homie. I've known him forever. E, was it a good time at the tracks or what?
Yes, it was a wonderful time. This may surprise you, but I don't get out to the tracks too often.
No,
I really don't. And hanging out with you two degenerates was, it was a great time. Lot of exciting races. I want to give a shout out to Little Do's horse, born on Valentine's Day. Is that how you say it? Or born
on Valentine's Day?
I think. Do you put the Valentines or is it born on Valentine's Day?
Born on Valentine's Day.
Okay,
yep.
Yeah. Didn't get the victory, but pushed hard. The race was a little long according to Little Do. But anyway, tremendous time at Golden Gate Fields.
Folks, if you've never done this, I'm telling you, although I
beautiful
know
Saturday.
Our English listeners are, I know you guys love to bet. You guys love the odds. I'm sure you guys love to go watch the horses, or as I like to call them, the ponies run. But, man, it was a great time. And then in kind of a stroke of ineptitude, I will call it, in attempt to try to beat the traffic, we ended up on the wrong lane and found ourselves on our way to San Francisco. We live in the East Bay, and to go to San Francisco, you got to go over a bridge. And, once you pass the last exit, you're going to San Francisco.
Right.
And with the last second decision, we decided as we were on our way to San Francisco, hell with it. Let's go get some Chinese food in Chinatown. Yeah. Which, if people don't know, Chinatown, San Francisco, I have heard it described more than once as the best food, the best Chinese food outside of China.
And firecrackers.
And firecrackers.
Go ahead.
And I also want to give a shout out, a gung hei fat choi to my our very favorite Asian listeners in China. Gung hei fat choi. We found out that, not even realizing when we got to Chinatown in San Francisco, they're preparing for Chinese New Year, and it was packed. There was people all over the place.
Tremendous. A lot of smells in the air.
What kind of smells?
Little kids walking by you, doing them little poppers, scaring the shit out of me.
Right.
Had me a little jumpy. But the Chinese food was tremendous. Me and Fiddy ate so much at this restaurant that when we were done, the whole restaurant stood up and gave us a round of applause. It was tremendous. So just an all around wonderful weekend. Then let's get on with the game, man. Let's get on with Arsenal. Let's see what's up.
You know what? I also do want to point out real quick the other fine note that I did notice going into the restaurant that I did coming out. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, this is how good the food was. President Obama made a stop at this very same restaurant. I did not choose this restaurant. We did not decide on this restaurant because of that. But on the way out, we realized that this is the place that he stopped when he was in San Francisco. So if you guys want to know how good the food is, I'm telling you, it was excellent.
Yeah. And the picture was a trip because Obama had a joint in his mouth.
And he was wearing a dashiki.
While he was eating his chow mein. But anyway, what are we talking about here? What's the name of the restaurant?
It was called Eastern Garden.
That's how bad we are. You sure?
Eastern Garden Restaurant, and that's the only words that were in English. Everything else was in, do they call it Chinese? I'm not sure.
Hey, dude, please. Okay.
I mean, in this day and age, I want to make sure I'm trying to be as correct as I can. So I'm going to call it Chinese writing. Anyway, so
the game.
These are the reasons why our weekend was enjoyable enough that we could stomach what happened in a very lackluster, dull game. We all know the results. 1-0 in the North London derby. Tottenham beat Arsenal.
Wembley, biggest crowd ever to watch a Premier game.
83,000 people.
And, just a really kind of boring derby match. Not a lot really going on. What were some of your thoughts about first half?
Coming out to shooting, I mean, kind of immediately. I must say that I have locked on to one of your things that you've pointed out before in the past about just trying to keep it tight for the first 15, 20 minutes, Thank you for my Four Roses single barrel. Always got to love it. Only way to get through a fine podcast, a nice bourbon on the side. But anyway, back to the game. Getting through the first 15, 20 minutes is kind of important, especially for Arsenal. There was a couple of what we like to call the squeaky bum times where, if Mustafi continues to start games off the way he has, he's going to give me an aneurysm or a heart attack, man. This dude, man, he's got to get his shit together, man. But he seems so shaky to start games sometimes that I'm like wondering, like, maybe this guy should have moved on, except.
And Colchione is nipping right at his heels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want to do the trifecta, I'm sure we'll talk about Peter Cech later, but, you can just throw him in there too.
Please.
But not once, not once till we hear. Look, anyway, we didn't hear about a defender coming in. Everything was straight. But anyway, go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
So the first half, they started okay.
The defense was tight. Everybody kept it, we kind of kept it tight. It looked like he got his tactics right. But as far as us
lineup-wise, he did choose to start El Nini. I guess Ramsey's injuries got something to do with that, maybe. Probably kind of lacking options in that position. So El Nini starts, and Jack starts. But like we said, Ramsey was injured. The one option is if Jack doesn't start, maybe Lacazette starts, and somehow they shuffle that front four. Maybe Aubameyang plays out wide or something, and Lacazette plays down the middle, something. But he chose to go with Jack. I'm never really too disappointed if Jack's the choice. I mean, I like Jack. I think he has a good head. I think he's matured well, so I don't mind having Jack out there.
Right.
Some people may have questioned, and I'm going to ask people, but be honest, not your reactions after the game, but going into the game. Some people might have been surprised that Iwobi wasn't out there. Iwobi's played a lot of games lately. On top of that, even when he hasn't been getting regular starts, for some reason, Wenger has continuously started Iwobi in big matches against big competition. I think there's something about his ball possession or something that Wenger kind of likes, and he's strong and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's why he started, but he didn't start him. No. So
those same people who might have questioned that weren't questioning that at the end of the game. I thought when Iwobi came on in the second half, he was, he was shaky.
Mm-hmm.
He lost the ball a lot, and he did have one good long pass that Lacazette blew the chance. But other than that, I just thought he was a little shaky, and maybe him not starting this game might have affected him in some sort of silly way. But for some reason, I'm starting to like him out there as far as, his dribbling ability, his ability in tight spaces to keep the ball and maybe run out a few people.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any problems with the lineup at all. I thought we would do better attacking. I knew we would give up a goal or two, because that's just what we do. But I thought we could hang. We had enough firepower on the pitch to create more chances than what we did.
Sure.
But Wenger, like you were saying, Wenger's tactics, I thought, his approach to the game was right. We just don't really have a defense that can, withstand that pressure till we get to point to be able to counterattack and maybe score a goal. I feel, we need to attack more with the players that we have. I don't know. It was just weird. I don't know.
When I just kind of looked over the stats for the game, there was a lot of things that at times analysts will call to reasons why teams win or don't win and stuff like that. There was a lot of stats that were very even between the teams. Possession was like 51-49, touches and tackles and stuff like that. But, with the same amount of possession, the same amount of passing going on, Tottenham found a way to take 3 times as many shots. Arsenal only got 6 shots on goal the entire game and 1 on target.
And then, I'm sure if we dug into those stats a little more, the majority of those came in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And Lacazette had 3?
Everybody
4?
can remember Lacazette with 3 chances at the end of the game. So there's 3 out of your 6 right there,
And, and that was to me, was the main problem. We didn't, with the players on the field, we had the potential to create more chances than what we did. I don't know if they were totally focused on playing defense or, just keeping it tight. But you would think a team with those players coming off the game they just had, we would have created more chances, especially in the North London Derby, and that just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
The peaks and valleys continue. The same cycle. We're getting ready to come into a lot of games, Yeah.
I
don't know.
When you look at the two teams, there's many reasons why I guess many people would say Tottenham is farther along, a better team than Arsenal right now. But when I'm looking at the 2 back lines, like you were talking about the back line, as far as the center backs go, if the Tottenham center backs are better, I'm not even sure that, but I know how they rate compared to our center backs rate in the realm of world football. And ours are considered just as good, maybe even better. And, but so you have to start questioning tactics. You have to start thinking about choices on how you play them.
Practice.
One of the things Tottenham continue to talk about with Tottenham is their back line plays high.
Right.
They come up and they squeeze your offense. And we got caught offside 6 or 7 or 8 times or something like that.
Something ridiculous.
And some of those were very close, and some of them were golden opportunities that clearly looked like if our guys just could hold off for a half a second longer, they would have been through.
And that's where, controlling the midfield, being able to have the technical ability to keep the ball, quickly pass it and maybe slip one of those passes through. I just thought the midfield with, El Nini, I don't have a problem with El Nini. He's not the most exciting going forward. And, if you're really trying to attack and get back in the game, I can understand why you would take him out. But as far as, the amount of work he puts in compared to somebody like Xhaka, it's not even comparable. And Xhaka is getting really good at hiding while he's out on the field playing.
Yeah.
You rarely see him do anything. All you do is see him mess up. You know what I mean? You don't really notice him doing anything really good. And as far as, yeah.
You know what? That kind of leads me right to I wanted to give a shout out to somebody that pointed something out that I've been kind of trying to point out that I don't see a lot of other people supporting or on the bandwagon for. But anyway, on Twitter, I came across a guy at only one Henry, at only one Henry. And he just says, Xhaka describes our midfield problems since Fibergrass/Song perfectly. Slow in decision-making, lacks mobility, fails to keep the ball under pressure, and lacks any kind of defensive awareness. Does anyone else feel Xhaka criticism is justified? Bing, bing, bing. Yes, I do. I really do. I've been trying to say this. It's not the fact that Xhaka doesn't have any talent, and it's not the fact that whether I care at all whether he's living up to his $35 million price tag or whatever we paid for him. But, if people would realize what he's saying with his lacks any kind of defensive awareness. So now I take you back to the goal. I take you back to Harry Kane's goal. What is pointed out in that goal by most of the people is that Koscielny didn't react fast enough and allowed Harry Kane to go up over him. And Harry Kane going up over him, he looked like basically he did dominate Koscielny in the air, and
I don't think
Cech didn't even have a chance at it.
I don't think he fouled Koscielny either. I just think he had the awareness to get off his feet first. It looked like a push, but he just beat Koscielny off the ground.
He got off the ground much sooner than Koscielny, which kind of gave him like property to the air.
Exactly.
And he, so it was a legit goal. But what happened in that goal was what this guy says. His Xhaka's lack of, when they replayed the goal, Xhaka, who sinks too deep into like the defensive almost back line, almost too deep, but then sees the pass go out to Eriksen, and he doesn't close him down.
Right.
He sees it and he chooses not to close him down, but he also doesn't turn around to go mark anybody else. He just stands there.
Right.
He stands there like he's a moon man.
Right.
Like he's just staring into space, like he doesn't know what to do, or he's choosing to not do anything. One or the other, it's not adequate for a CDM to not choose somebody to go mark, knock down, kick in the shin, do something, dude.
But did you see that haircut?
Ooh.
Did you see that haircut?
Ooh.
Now, he's a buster. Extremely non-athletic. He just floats around out there, man. He's not really doing much. But he gets the opportunity to play week in and week out. Hats off to him. You look at what's going on with Lacazette. As far as I'm sure we'll get into this, not having the time to acclimate, and you know what I mean. He's already kind of being forced out, and people.
My last note on Xhaka. I want to ask anybody, because I know for whatever reason, if he's just a beautiful young lad that just it has everybody enamored. I don't care whatever the reason is. I want to ask you one question. And matter of fact, I might put a poll. We might put a poll up, but ask yourself this. Should Xhaka be the one player on the team that is always on the starting sheet? Should he always be the one that is on the starting sheet? I'm not sure if one person, even his biggest supporters, could say that he should be on the sheet before an Ozil or however the squad is set up now. Should he even be on the sheet before a Jack Wilshere? Now that we got Mkhitaryan and Obama, I bet you we find games that they don't start, but Xhaka's still out there. And that's what I'm talking about as baffling. I don't understand the love that he gets by Wenger to the point that he can't even miss a game.
Right. No, yeah. And it's an area of the pitch that that's clearly lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think, if you're going to experiment and try some different shit, you might want to experiment there with the removal of him just to see how it goes without him. But anybody can pretty much get out there and cruise around the pitch, like him.
Certainly.
And play that role. But then you got to look, at some points in the game, he's out wide, he's wide left, he's in the box.
Yeah.
And so, it's a mentality, it's a philosophy, you must have improvisation, all that shit.
Well.
And,
Well, basically, I like to start him because his haircut is fly like Superfly. Thank you.
But yeah, he just be, your boy Vigor just be talking shit.
you know.
Anyway, come on.
Hey, dude.
I'm starting to like him because of all the fucking nonsense that comes out of his mouth. I'm starting to like him.
Well, I mean, if you start conceding to the fact that, actually, hey, I'm gonna drop the joke about Vinger, but I will ask you this though. Okay, where we stand right now in the Premier League,
yeah,
our chances at a top 4, or maybe some people would call it a unexpected Europa League win. What should the focus of this team be for the rest of the season?
For the rest of the season, I think obviously we should give Europa League, the highest priority. It's basically our only legitimate shot at the top 4. Deep down, I don't think we have the squad depth to be able to challenge for that. But you were so far out of 4th place, we don't really need squad depth. We can just play our best players in Europa and field a shitty squad in the Premiership. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Well, legitimately, you can say in the Premier League, there's 4 teams that we have to battle to get to 4th, and in Europa League, we probably got 4 teams that legitimately we probably are going to have to battle to win.
Yeah.
But in Europa League, we're starting right now from fresh.
Right.
From Premier League, we're like several points down. 7 points down or something like that.
Something ridiculous where we're probably about 7 points out of 4th.
Yeah.
Right now, we just lost to Tottenham.
I mean, we literally almost have to really let go of that, man.
Our next game in the Premiership is against Man City. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We lose that, and it's a wrap officially.
Yeah.
I think it is now. But yeah, I would say, all priority needs to go on the Europa League Cup. And if we can win the Carabao Cup,
you know what? I mean, it would literally be a flag in our cap as the typical Arsenal flag in their cap.
But I mean,
we won something.
Right.
We gave our fans something to hold on to.
Right.
We have enough talent to win things, just not the big things.
It's just another trophy in the trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
This one is against Man City. So, if we did win it, it would be like, yeah, we beat, one of, people were saying one of the best teams in the Premiership ever and shit like that. So, could be a little feather in our cap. But the, Europa League, do the best you can. There's some tough teams in that, and in Europe, that's where Wenger really struggles for me as far as tactics.
Yeah.
Two leg games, tactics, so it's going to be rough. We'll see, man.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? We were watching some stuff online and, when you're talking about tactics, I have to say, what about how do you play a defensive match when you don't have the defensive talent
or mentality?
Yeah. Even the talent, because just your defenders don't necessarily have, as much as I love Nacho, he's limited in some ways because he's not the fastest left back.
Little black African wingers.
Yeah.
Destroy Monreal. But he still kind of hangs in there. But anyway.
Yeah, he does everything he can and he makes very few mistakes. So he gives you everything he can. But if you want to be a top class squad in Europe, then, there's got to be some jumping off point that you move on from a Nacho. As much as I love him.
Whoa.
Not saying that you get rid of him,
right.
But, at some point, he needs to be challenged or pushed or.
You would like to be in a situation where Nacho is your backup left back.
Bingo.
And whoever is starting over him would know that Nacho is coming. And you got to perform, you got to play well, or Nacho's going to take your spot like he did Gibbsy.
Yes.
That's what we need everywhere. People like that on that second team, that second sheet. We need people like that everywhere. And as far as the back line, people laughed at Johnny Evans, but he's a solid, grizzled, veteran, premiership center back, and he really could have helped his team out. As far as like not being polluted with Wenger's defensive philosophies, you know what I mean? Because Certainly. He just got here. He played with Sir Alex. You know what I mean? He knows how to defend. He knows what you're supposed to do and what not to do and shit like that. Sure. So, but we didn't even really look at defenders or a holding midfielder or anything like that.
Nope.
And that all goes back to who.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat him up.
Yep. Well, the idea of, the idea of always needing to, because Alexis is gone and he's an attacker, then we must reinforce our squad with another attacker. Even though we do have still kind of a lot of attackers on your squad now, even with Alexis gone.
To say the least, yeah.
I understand wanting to make sure you re-strengthen your squad, but what's wrong with re-strengthening your squad with and I can't even give you a name, but taking a shot at the top CDM in all of Europe.
Yeah.
I bet you he costs less money than Alexis,
Right.
So if you got rid of Alexis for $30 million, how good of a CDM that would lock the center of your field down, the center of your pitch down, would cost you? About the same.
Yeah.
So it's your choice, Wenger. It's your choice to continue to load up on attackers, but not load up on defenders. And that's where I'm putting you on call.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now, you're great on Wenger for this last game.
Great on Wenger for this last game. I'll go with a C, just an average grade. Just because I thought the tactics. Actually, I'm saying the tactics look great because they worked in the first half. You know what I mean? We basically tried the same shit and it didn't work in the second half, and they carved us open. So he didn't make any adjustments. The team didn't make any adjustments going forward, trying to create more chances, trying to get people involved. I know Lacazette had opportunities, but speaking of that, the reason why his grade is a C, actually I'm going to give Wenger a D, is because what's going on with Lacazette.
Yeah.
Starting him sometimes, sitting him some games, not playing him in big games he's supposed to play, buying Aubameyang. He's only been at the club for 6 months. Does he deserve a little time? We just got done talking about Xhaka. You know what I mean? Getting to play week in and week out, though he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
And he's taking stick from everybody.
Yeah.
But he's out there.
Yeah.
It just go everything with the Aubameyang and the Mkhitaryan. It just goes to show you that the planning, the transfer planning and acquiring of players and scouting, or just having a plan of what you need and what you're going to do, is completely non-existent. Yeah. Especially when the manager says, I'm not going to sell Alexis Sanchez this summer. Especially when somebody like Jack Wilshere hasn't even signed his contract. We got Ozil, but what about Jack? And to bring in Mkhitaryan, sure, yeah, we needed somebody after Alexis left, but you just spent $55 million for Lacazette, and you're bringing in two people that could potentially be playing in the same position he plays.
Yeah.
So, and you're a club that doesn't like to spend money, and you're just pissing it away in situations like that. Yeah, of course we need Aubameyang now because we don't have Giroud, but that wasn't the plan. This is scrambling around, flying by the seat of your pants, trying to fucking make shit work or trying to please the fans because we're losing Alexis and we said we weren't gonna. It's just all a big mess.
I mean, for the most part, all that money has been spent. All the big money has been spent on his attackers,
right.
On his attacking.
And what do we need most?
When he did spend, which 35 million, I think it was 35 or maybe it was 30 on Xhaka, he spent it on a defender that doesn't really have a defensive mentality or at least ability to make up for to track back and make things to lock things down, which you would hope when you spend that much money on somebody that is labeled as a CDM, that's the one thing he could do is go back and put a stop to breaks and make things hard for attackers in the middle of the pitch.
Break up the play.
Break the plays up, which, I mean, I will have to say, even though Koch didn't do this in the most recent times, what Koch did for us a year ago or a year and a half ago and stuff like that, that's what we were looking for. Somebody willing to just get stuck in, use his fucking mind and go crazy.
Exactly.
There's so much that we could be hitting on, you guys. Czech, I think, is fucking losing his mind. We know this.
Scrambling.
The guy is going crazy. That exchange between him and Mustafi where they fucking almost just gave a goal away because they don't know how to communicate to each other or
shaky.
What.
Very shaky, starting to show his age. Looked like an old fighter out there. He made a couple of great saves, followed by blunder and poor decision. Great save. You know what I mean? So he's just kind of all over the place, hanging in there like a true veteran. But, starting to miss Szczesny already, and I thought I'd never say that ever in my life.
I know, right?
Because,
So, real quick to pony back on what we're talking about with Wenger. My last point with Wenger is this is the deal. When this is kind of towards the old school fans, the guys that have been Arsenal true and true since 1972, and hey, all that. Listen, I understand that you think players need to saddle up and listen to their manager and blah, blah, blah. But we have enough proof, not just on Arsenal, but on all teams in all sports all over the place, that these players these days are a different breed. This isn't the same player that you used to watch that got his teeth punched out and had issues with, drinking and blah, 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 all that stuff. These are players that are affected emotionally by the way they're treated. And you have to understand, this is what I mean by Wenger's getting outdated. When you keep playing these head games with Lacazette, and I'll even point out somebody like Wilshere. Wilshere played every game through November and December because really you put him in there when he was needed. You needed somebody. You got him in there. He played every game, midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend. He misses a game because of Nick. When he's ready to go, you don't start him. You play somebody else. Either Iwobi or Ramsey played over him. That was your choice. I'm not saying it was a bad choice. Ramsey scored a hat trick. Iwobi played okay in that Everton game. But you're playing games with these kids' heads. And I'm telling you, whether you like it or not, these millennials are a different breed, and you need to understand how they operate. Iwobi's been playing pretty good lately. You benched him this week. Now you bring him off the bench, and I don't know if it's right or wrong that something seemed to be wrong with his head, but he was making poor decisions. And that's what I'm talking about with Wenger being outdated. You got to get your fucking shit together, Kroenke, and make a decision that it's time to move on. Attitudes need to be changed on this squad. A consistency needs to be set on this squad. When a team like Bayern Munich is getting old, but is still considered a favorite in Champions League, it's because of the consistency, because their team understands how they're supposed to play, where they're supposed to be, what the goal is for this team, and what their tactics are. It's all set in stone, and they understand how to play together. Yeah. We need this in Arsenal, everybody. We need this.
Yeah, I completely agree. Top to bottom, Bayern's a class organization. We're, dog shit right now.
Yeah. And the roller coaster is a fucking piece of work.
The worst part about being dog shit is that only half the people know we're dog shit.
Yep.
And the other half think it's bad. The other side think it's bad to notice we're dog shit. Like, even if you just notice or point out a few things, it becomes a big back and forth situation. And that's what needs to stop. We all just need to, be rational and be like, okay, look, this shit has been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
And managers do get to a point where they don't know what the fuck to do anymore.
Yep.
That's why they retire, or they get out of the game, or they get fired. It just passes. It's okay.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything to the shit that's already happened. It's in the books.
Yep.
But you can point out if somebody keeps making dumbass mistakes over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. You could do that.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what we're trying to do here. And it's frustrating. And there's really no hope inside if Wenger's going to continue to be stubborn, to continue to show his age, and not get with the times, not learn to deal with kids who are on, millennials.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to leave you guys with one last note real quick. What manager would spend, actually, let me go this way. Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham. 4 teams. Big rivals, huge games. What manager would spend $55 million on a player and not play that guy against those 4 huge rivals? Only Arsene Wenger. Lacazette is in shambles. His head is fucking weirded out. He doesn't know what to think about what's going on right now. No. He just got money spent, the highest transfer in the history of Arsenal, and he can't figure out if he's somebody important on his team or just a fucking sideline player that's going to go the way of Campbell or,
Right. Who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen to him? So
there's only one thing he can do, Fitty.
What's that?
When he gets his opportunities, he needs to take them.
He does.
He really does.
He does.
But that is tough to do when your manager is, tickling your ass with a feather.
Yep.
Week in and week out. Yep. I don't know if that was a proper reference or comparison, but that's the one I went with.
Yeah, so. Ass tickler. He's French, right?
Something like that. I don't have any inspiration. I would say maybe get out. If you got some goals, some things you want to pursue, make a list and slowly but surely start knocking some shit out. We all got it. We all got it.
Hey, take them for some guys that got out for the first time in a little while, to just enjoy whatever that came their way. It was a good time. Go do it, folks. Do it. Do it.
Yes. I'm at E Marshall, EMARSHO. The show's Twitter handle is at CITM Podcast. Please drop us an email at CITMpodcast@gmail. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate the love.
I want to thank you all for tuning in to Cotton Two Minds. I'm Fitty at Gooner Rush on Twitter. And like he said before, Google us. You can find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. #OneLove. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Cotton Two Minds. Please head on over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review the show. All feedback is much appreciated. If you would like to contact the show, drop us an email at CITMpodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at CITM Podcast, at Gooner Rush, and at E Marshall. That's EMARSHO. The music in this podcast has been provided by Statics. If you like what you hear, be sure to check them out at staticsentertainment.com and follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Statics Music. That's STATX Music. Peace.
Hey, and thank you at LittleDude11 and at Only One Henri. Only One Henri.
Shout out to London Goon AFC, a.k.a. Mr. Gooner. I appreciate all the love. Thank you.